This time.
There we go. And boom.
Okay, welcome to the Brain Drive weekly development call. We do these calls every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Our mission here at Brain Drive is to build a superior user-owned alternative to big tech AI systems. I'm Dave Waring and I handle the operations side here at Brain Drive.
And I'm Dave Jones, and I handle the technical side of the operations here.
Awesome. So we always like to kick these calls off with a quick high-level overview of our roadmap.
Yep.
So we're operating on a five-phase roadmap. Phase zero was our license selection. We operate under the MIT license because it is the most in line with our four pillars of Brain Drive: ownership, freedom, empowerment, and sustainability. We are wrapping up our phase one, which is getting to our beta release for being able to own the four primary components of your AI system: the interface, the intelligence, the memory, the hosting. And we just have one installer left to be submitted to the Mac OS store, and then we're
Yep.
good to go on this. And then we're moving on to our full release for what we call our Brain Drive owners. And this is really just polishing everything that we've built in this foundation and starting to promote the Brain Drive system out into the local AI community. And once we're done with that phase, which we're focused on right now, we will move on to our builder release, building on top of Brain Drive. And this is one of the big differentiators between the BrainDrive open source system and other open source systems, which we also love, but ours is built to build on top of. It's a modular architecture, plugin based architecture. So our vision is to help you realize your vision. And then we'll move on to phase four. If we're going to build a superior user-owned alternative to big tech AI systems, we need a superior economic model, and the ability to monetize your brain drive is going to be a big part of this. And those will be the full picture there that we can move to phase five, which is community acceleration. There's a lot more talent and capital outside of these big tech companies than there are within them. And once there's a platform that's open and free for everyone to build on, we believe we can really accelerate past what's the big tech companies are going to be able to offer. So those are the five phases. And next, we'll move into our progress that we've made towards this roadmap in the last week. And so I'll hand it over to Dave to take it away on that.
Okay. Let's see. Last week we spent time on the installers. We have the Windows working. Over the weekend, I got the Mac version working. Already did the pull request to that. The only thing left for that is for me to move the files up, so that in the same release will be the Windows and the Mac version. And then I'm going to let you run through it since you know Macs better than I do. I just know it runs for me, which probably is not saying much on a Mac. So you'll be the gospel on that
And
one.
we have all of our brand stuff integrated now that you wanted to put in, like the icons and the
Yep.
dark mode and all that.
Yep. It should
Great.
be there should be almost minimal difference between the Windows version that you see, and then if you've seen the Mac, you'd be like, I know what to do with this because there's no difference between the two.
Great.
So that came out as much as well as I wanted to, and I think because of the work we did before on the version that you and I both agreed looked like crap, for lack of better words. It was great when we did it first, but now we're up in modern times, we needed to adjust. That it really was a few hours to try to convert the old version to the new version. Because the background code didn't change much. It was mostly just display stuff. So we have both those working great. The task manager jobs, that works as expected. The only thing left to do that is the plugin for Olama. I need to update that one, which that's going to be just a few seconds sometime today for me to finish wrapping up. And that'll be working great. So we're really caught up. We have all the installers done. We have the job stuff done.
And is
And
the Mac installer submitted to the App Store yet or no?
no, no, not yet. I want you to run it first for you to tell me if I miss something because how to run a app in Mac, I'm not quite fluent with. I think I am, but I want somebody who knows a Mac to tell me that I get it right type
Got it.
thing. Because
Got
you
it.
end up with two different you end up with an app and a DMG,
Okay.
okay, which is different from Ubuntu and Windows and stuff like that. So it's like, you to take a look at it, you to run it. If it works for you, then we're good. If you encounter an issue, then I can clean those things up. Easy
Okay,
enough.
great.
Yeah, so we're looking pretty good right now, I think, on all things considered. We have I haven't been able to blow up the, how do we call that? I'm not sharing my screen anyways. I was getting ready to go to that. Um, the work we did in the page builder as far as what was that? Decoupling. Oh, so that you could zoom in and zoom out on the page. I haven't been able to break that at all over the weekend as I played with it, so I'm pretty happy with there.
You want to show that real quick?
Yep. We can do that really quick. There we go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, this I played with this weekend of different things and trying to break it and all like that. I didn't encounter any new issues.
So
So,
what is this?
okay, this allows somebody that depending on whatever interface you're on, according like this monitor that I'm working on right now is a 27-inch monitor, which most people don't have. Most people are probably on a laptop that is 15 inches. And that 15 inches comes with a sacrifice of the right here, the actual work area, the grid. And previously, if your grid was too small, it would have trouble because it was trying to use the size of your grid versus the size it was expecting, and it would cause a small explosion, and you would have to actually reduce the side menu to get the actual grid size you needed. And so that is just the poorest way to do it. So we put on our roadmap to actually fix this. And what it is now is what you see here in tech terms has been decoupled. And just like everything else we've done, we use that word. So now that it doesn't matter what size screen you're on, if you want to see the whole page, you can simply zoom it down based on what size you have visibly. And if you have more screen real estate, you can take advantage of it. And that way you can build your page however you desire. The page goes now deeper, so if you want a scrolling page, you are free to do so. And one of the things of my own little system that pissed me off is I wanted access to the toolbars and the modules no matter where I was on the page. So further, it was like it just accelerates the development process without you having to do a bunch of things. The only thing that's not in place yet that we had discussed was that if you dropped a module onto this and it was the first one, it would automatically take up the entire page. I was working on that and at the time, and it was like causing a little explosions I didn't like, so I just shoved it off to the back burner. And it'll be now that it's working and I'm happy with this, I will probably start putting that in place at some point. But it wasn't a crucial thing because that wasn't a bug. That was just a nice thing for us to have in there to accelerate development.
Okay,
Um, so,
great.
so that's the let's see that, and then of course we have, let's see, do I have it running? Yes, I do. This is of course the installer. It looks the same no matter where you're at. It I haven't been able to really break it. I found one thing that went wrong with me, not really wrong. For some reason, it didn't start up the front end when it started up the back end. And I could have been just pressing buttons too fast for everything that I had going on. But all I had to do, I didn't have to do anything fancy. I just stopped the process and then started it back up, and it worked perfectly. So it was just something that was able to clean itself up. The only thing I want to do differently, well, first let me say this works how we wanted to on the issue list for this so we can start planning a roadmap for future development of the installer. I'd like to be able to present to the user what ports are being taken up right on the front screen so they can see. I mean, they can get to it now by simply going to the settings. Um, there we go. Uh, and go here. You see what ports are being taken up very easily. However, for Katie, having to go to different screens when I can just utilize the first screen to display that would probably go a long ways. We
I don't
spoke.
know about that. I mean, I think keeping that hidden because I don't think Katie's going to have anything running on these other ports, and having that she's not going to know what that is. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. That's why I did it kind of the way I did it. It's just so, but too much information is not always a good thing. We'll go
Right.
with that. And then we had discussion of going with a tactic that Olama has gone with, OpenAI has gone with, is utilizing the system tray rather than having the application running all the time. When you have it up and running, we will just shovel off to a system tray, and that way you can close this and have a good day and move forward.
Yeah, but all that stuff is backlog for now,
Exactly.
right?
That where
Yeah.
they'll go on the issues for a future roadmap. As it is right now, this works, and our goal is to get it in the App Store for Macs, maybe for Windows. We'll take a look at that as well, and have it so people that Katie can just easily, I want to use Brain Drive. She can install it, and she can run it easily every time she wants to put it up.
Great.
I think
All
that
right.
covers last week. Very as
Excellent.
such.
So a few other updates. So on the Navneet front, Navneet's been working on Model Match, which is our recommendation and evaluation system for recommending the best open source models for specific use cases. We got some good feedback. It feels like we're still a little ways away from having something that people are like really excited
Yeah.
about. And I still think it's a good idea. I think we both do, you and I, Dave. But I think what is closer to us being able to use the framework that we've built, that he's built for us, and also to having something that's like really valuable is building out some specific use cases within BrainDrive.
Yep.
So I've switched him over to working on what we were calling Y Detector, but now we've acquired yfinder.com. So,
Okay.
I like Wi-Fi. And I kept saying
You
Y-Finder
and
too.
I think I
Yeah.
don't know. I was wondering why I kept saying Wi Finder, and I was correcting myself, but it was like it's an easy way to say it. It's like Wi
Yeah.
Finder. Okay,
And it's
boom.
Find Your Why.
Yep.
So this is going to be a plugin that helps you find your
Yep.
why based on Simon Sinek's framework for anyone who's familiar with that. And it's a chat-based experience and it's really cool. And we have it working outside of Brain Drive already. So I thought that would be a good first thing for him to work on to bring that into Brain Drive. And so the first part of that is bring himself up to speed on the system,
Hmm.
which will also help us to have another developer going through
Yep.
things fresh now that we've got a lot more documentation and a much more fleshed out system. So he's doing that, plus coming up with the plan on building the plugin for the Y-Finder. And once he has that plan and he's gone through everything, then we'll do a call with the three of us to
Yep.
go through that. And so I'm excited about that because, I think getting some initial use cases within Brain Drive, one of our big value propositions, I think, as simple as it sounds. Ooh, let me not move off of that. That's our live. Is having these page specific use cases where you can, have your Y Finder, your financial advisor, your nutritionist,
Yep.
all these different things preloaded and ready to go for you and be able to trade those eventually and all that type of stuff and share those. So that's the update on the Navaneeth front. On the Beck front, Beck is wrapping up with us. He's moving on to other projects with his consulting firm after this week. So we're in the process of handing over the work that he's been doing on the chat with document system over to Dave. So Dave's been starting to look at that, and we'll be focused on that. We can talk a little bit more about that in the planning out the coming week.
Yep.
And then for me, I knocked out some smaller things. Um, I'm starting to use the done. Uh, so we now have a little bit better of a YouTube. So if you go to the Brain Drive YouTube channel, we now have the banner and a little
Yep.
better logo, and I've optimized the description and those types of things and added the links. So nothing crazy there, but also updated our playlists and just got the channel a little better organized
Yep.
because we're about ready to start posting more on that. And that should be a major uh, promotion channel for the Brain Drive community. So I got that done. And then posting the existing plugins to the community forum. So all of our existing plugins, I didn't put the service bridges in here because I feel like
They're more
that's gonna,
developer stuff, not exactly where the normal user would kind of.
and the plugin template is here along with the documentation.
Yep.
So when you come into the Brain Drive Marketplace, which is where we're going to be posting these plugins, if you post a new plugin, there's already a template here that you can fill out, and I've used this template for the plugins that Just figure out how to move it. Here we go. So that's the let's do the settings plugin. So what it is, the name of it. Here's the install link. What does it do? Data control, like what happens with the data,
Yep.
who the authors are, what the status is, a screenshot, and the docs. And eventually, in the template, there's also a spot for a demo video. So I'm going to go through and do screen recordings of all these and put those up. And I don't know what you. This is the first time you're seeing that,
Yep.
Dave.
Yep.
So I was more like, let's keep this part simple and link out to all the other places versus like duplicating all the work that we've done with docs and stuff here.
No, no, that's good. And I'll use it for like the craft plugin I did. And
Yep.
I'll go through the whole steps that a user would go through and stuff like that. So we
Yep.
could, get a take on it, much like everything else we do, kind of duplicate of somebody's second eyes going over the process and see if we're missing something.
Great. And eventually we obviously want to move this to like the JSON
Yep.
marketplace and everything that we've talked about, but I figured as a way to get up and running,
Yep.
step one.
And this was always part of our plan to start on, the forums and stuff like that. That way we could get a feel of the information we need when we want to see. If users chime in at later, a couple of in a week or whatever, go, hey, I'd really like to see XYZ in this, because I think it would help people make an informed decision, and stuff like that.
Yep. Okay. And then I got the email capture set up on the forum, which was a little bit of a nightmare, but I actually had to get someone from Upwork to do this for me. But now when you go, I've been to the site too
Yeah.
many times. It has a three maximum before it triggers. But when you go to community.braindrive.ai, any of the posts there, you get a pop-up for our free How to Run AI Privately and Locally on Your Computer ebook, which I think is going to be a great lead capture and also provide a lot of value to people that are coming in. So that's all set up. And you also get now, when you sign up for the forum, you get a welcome email
Mhm.
that, introduces you and I, Dave, and talks a little bit about the vision for the community and everything. So that's all working and automated, and hopefully will not, now that that work has been done on the foundation, we won't have to spend, or I won't have to spend days trying to figure this stuff out. um, so that's that. And also, I will say another benefit of coding my own sites now, which I can do with Codex, is like everything I can just do it with AI versus if I'm using one of these services, I have to like figure out how to do it on their service
Yep.
versus just like talking to the AI. So that's an interesting side note. Um, okay. And yeah, we had some issues with the doc sites. That's cleaned up now. And then the other thing that I did, which isn't a mark off done, but I've started to get together. I've written a lot of content actually already on let me see if I can find this. Hold on one second. I should have had this up already. Stop share. So I've written a lot of content already that we can use as part of our launch.
Mhm.
And I started just going back and finding it all and organizing it. And so here is, basically the soft launch,
Yep.
getting Digital Brain Base switched over and getting some content up on that. The local LLM community has a contest that we're going to submit to. I'm going to post in the open source about like our business plan and how we're thinking about commercial open source and get feedback on that. But that's also, I think that'll be a good discussion piece for that
Yep.
community, but also get some eyeballs on the MIT project from the open source community. And then there's a bunch of different places where you can like promote your startup.
Yep.
So I thought this would be like, as sort of a soft launch, a good way to get some local AI enthusiasts with eyeballs on, and then with the free startup promotion places, that starts getting us links to start build our authority from an
Yep.
SEO standpoint, but also hopefully will get us some feedback from like the Katie types,
Yep.
that may be interested in this, but not be existing local AI enthusiasts. And then I think, just getting some feedback from like 25 people in this phase, and then like really going hard onto some of the bigger forums like Local Llama, Hacker News, Product Hunt, all of the major places where people launch.
Hmm.
And I don't think this phase needs to be, I mean, this can be a few days, you know
Yeah.
what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like weeks or anything. So getting all that together and the content that I have, around that, and then working on the course around Brain Drive. So, we already have like this isn't live
Yeah.
visible yet,
Yeah.
but and updating this with the screenshots, and I have the outline here, and I'd already started working on a lot of these lessons. So, I think I can knock this out pretty quickly now. I was just kind of waiting for BrainDrive to be there that I could do all the screenshots and point to the installs and all that, which we have now, which is great. Um, and then other content just around the course. And then we have some SEO, like long form
Yeah.
content, like this local AI for non-developers guide that, I wrote a while back that I'll go back and refresh. But this is going to be like a long form piece that's really in depth. We can do the ultimate guide for Olama off of that because there's that content's kind of already done around that, and we can sort of repurpose that
Hmm.
running AI on your computer. I want to put together, this is pretty early stages right here, but I want to do a local rag guide. So anyway, just getting all this, what I already have organized, and we already have, like, we can hit the ground running
Yeah.
on the content front. So
Well, yeah, while you were waiting for me to code everything, you were like doing document and document and document. So it's like
yeah,
now it's time. You can put
yeah,
everything
right.
together
Yeah.
and
So so yeah, I'm moving on that front, and that's gonna be my main thing for this week, is I think I'll do the course stuff
Mhm.
until we're like in the Mac store and all that, because I'm pretty much ready to launch at this point from a content standpoint.
I have rag.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
want to
you
say
want to talk? You
before we
want?
get onto that, there is one thing Beck did that I don't know if you recall. When I first came up with the proof of concept of how to do a plugin and that entire architecture, I figured out one way to make it work, and that was with decoupled service bridges. And I said then, I don't know how long it would take, or maybe somebody will come behind me and figure this one out because there's a little magic combination in config files. But I'm pretty certain there was a way to make plugins work and, for lack of better words, borrow the React from the core and talk fluidly between the two as if they were one single application. And we had this discussion. We had it in video. Beck never knew it, which is probably why he never said a word. But when he handed you the plugin template stuff that you handed me the email, that's what he figured out.
Okay. Can you?
Now, okay, what am I saying? Exactly
Yeah.
what you're covering. Yeah. Because it was only one conversation we had, and I'm not sure if you recall it or not. So it was like, hey, I'm not
No.
putting that on you. My brain is just always kind of, I have these problems, and they are. Um, we use service bridges, and they have their advantage of being able to, of having a service bridge is we don't care about the version of React anymore. All it cares about is, do I have this service bridge? Period. At the end of the day, it's all it ever cares about. And so if I want to send an API call, I grab the API for this service bridge API. I hand the information over to that, and it handles all the work for me. I don't have to do anything. And there's a great way to, there's great reasons why to do that. They allow you to not worry about versions anymore. You could be as far off as several versions and nobody would care. The system won't blow up on you. And your plugin code is self-contained. It's its own little world. It is not trying to do anything outside of like that. However, that's not the only way. And I knew that. It was like if you figured out the combinations, you would start sharing between the core and your plugin, in a handshake that just is wherever you want to do, it'll meet you. Like personas, we currently do not have a way to reach out to the core and say, hey, I want to borrow that persona. What you do is you go through the API service bridge, which goes to the back end, and it says, hey, give me those personas so I can mess with them and do something with them and whatever you're going to do. If you had the if you had like where Beck does it, where there's a constant communication between the core and the plugin, What it allows is you just talk to the actual React front end and you say, hey, you have a list of service bridges right there in that front end. I want them. And it will give them to you without ever going to the back end. It'll just simply hand them over to you. So there, it gives developers an option depending on what they're trying to pull off. They have a choice now on how they want to develop their plugins. If we wish
And
to
the
promote that,
choices are what?
you can use service bridges. We have 6 of them, and you can handle your plugin through that way. Or you can, I don't want to call it cheating, but it is cheating. You can say, you know what? I want all the advantages of React, and I'm going to throw caution to the wind and develop my plugin, borrowing the React instance from the core. And so it's like, it's not, we're not going to change how we're doing anything, but it would be out there to saying, hey, if you really wanted to play with some advanced stuff, there you go.
And what's the advantage of borrowing the React from the core?
Their versions have got to match. If you get if there's a if you catch one of them nuances, let's say you're trying something pretty advanced that 18.10 doesn't do, where 18.3.1 does do, it will blow up in your face. It will crush your little application in 2 seconds flat and won't even think twice about it and not even
Okay,
tell.
so this is basically, if I could say it back as a
Yeah.
non-developer, okay, if you want version agnostic development, then do it as a plugin and talk to the service bridges because that's what makes it decoupled and you don't
Yep.
have to worry about it.
Yes.
But you're going to be able to do less advanced things because you have to talk to the service bridges. And so you're giving up a little bit of more of the like advanced integration stuff that you may be
Yep.
able to do to remain decoupled,
Yep.
right?
If you, yeah, exactly. If you, there might be some case where you're really trying to do something advanced, and a good example, your workflow might be a perfect example of the. If we talk about your content workflow that you have 19 steps on like that, and how to
Right.
pull that off, we may find doing something as advanced as that might lend itself to taking a more advanced approach to
But
get like
then
that.
if the BrainDrive core updates,
Too
yeah, which,
hard and like different, your content strategy has an issue. We'd have to
okay,
update that in sync with both of them. That's why
okay.
it's like my thing was I always wanted to know how to do it, only because I'm a developer, always learning and things like that. But as far as this has not changed what we're doing, this has not changed the path we're taking because
And
of the
we would
fact.
always suggest starting with the service
Yep,
bridges because it's easier and it's version agnostic.
yep. And you have plenty of code to sit there and look at on how to get yours to work. And you can also use that same code to tell an AI, hey, do this for me. And it'll be like, okay, thank you for the example. Let's get this done.
Yeah, and for me, from like a marketing standpoint, like a whole part of the story is decoupled
Yep,
and version agnostic and all that. So I would really rather not get into like, oh, but by the way,
yep,
you know what I mean? And that. And if you do it this way, then it doesn't work like that. But if you do it this way, it does. Like that makes the job a
yep.
lot, the messaging a lot harder.
Yeah, no, no, that's why this is pure and simple. It's there so that you don't, because I know if you're going to hit by developers, given the fact that, hey, you're out there. So just like I am.
Right.
So they'll, because that post is sitting there, that code is sitting there, and somebody will look at it and go, oh my God, I don't have to worry about a service bridge. And they'll think to themselves, this makes my life easier. But at the same time, if you do certain things, you will end up with egg on your face in 2 seconds flat.
Right. Okay. So, great. So, RAG, is that our big picture topic for today then?
Yep, yep. The I'm going by the videos that I have seen. You've used it with Beck. It works. Okay, I was not able to get it to work.
Okay, and
And
we're talking about right now this chat with documents
yep,
plugin, which is our first, when we think about owning the memory of the AI system, the first thing is the chat history, right? Which is
yep,
done. That's the foundation of everything. That's already the case within BrainDrive. And the next is being able to create a collection of documents and be able to chat with these documents. And so, this is a bunch of documents about BrainDrive that we have here. I've asked, is BrainDrive open source? and it gives the answer and even includes links and stuff based off of those documents in that answer. So this
Yep.
is document grounding RAG, and it makes the sort of ChatGPT or Claude projects functionality and brings it into BrainDrive. So that's
Yep.
what Beck has
Yep.
been working on, and that's what Dave's now taking over.
Yep. The first thing we have to make it Katie proof. Pure and simple. This has to be, it has to go through the installer. It has to, for lack of better words, you put the link in there. The installer should be able to allow Katie, who barely knows how to spell RAG, never mind knows all the intricate parts of it, has to go through that process smoothly for her. And for a Katie, we don't even want to hit her with a question. We want to have a default answer that Katie's going to go through, and it will install everything. Like the models are necessary for embedding. It needs to auto install those for her, so that when Katie puts Chat with Documents page up, while she has the ability to change the models later on, the initial experience is right there for her to start the ground running.
Okay. Yes. However, I would say yes, but um, that was never part of the original scope of
Yep.
the plugin. And I think that, one of the things that um, it's going to depend on the document type and stuff. Like, I think people are going to want to optimize this RAG system. And I think right now we're asking Katie, to the non-technical user,
Yep.
to add a model,
Yep.
as part of the whole thing. I know we don't want to eventually, but this concept of adding a model is already there.
But we don't tell ever. Okay, maybe that's the nowhere in any of the documentation could I find in order to install this plugin, you need to have X.
Well, you don't need to have anything. You don't like, so I'm using here, let me just show
Yep.
you. So I'm using uh bu- 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 bum,
Here we go.
I'm using Quinn
Yep.
3.8b and this embed model
Yep.
here. Okay, but if I don't have those models, it's not going to prevent me from installing the plugin. I just have to go in and add those
It
models
prevented me from installing.
because you didn't have the
Yep.
models. Okay, because what I think Beck was supposed to be working on was that there's not even default, like you
Yeah.
you you use the drop down from BrainDrive to choose these models,
I'm
and
pretty
you have
sure.
to go. Yeah,
Good.
go ahead.
I'm pretty sure the your embedded model was actually being called for in the code when it originally tries to start up. And because when I was trying to install it and it was trying to do the Docker thing in the background, part of that log was it blowing up because it didn't have that model
Okay,
accessible.
so that's something we'll have to
Yep.
figure out. But so I think you and I are both 100% on the same page that it is definitely going to be way better if the plugin checks to see if the models that are the default are installed, and if they're not, it installs them. So
Yeah. Oh, yep.
I
Or
think
at the
that
very
is,
least, listen, we'll do both ways. If at the very least it tells the user, hey, I'm installing. I know I don't have a model. I can't run, but you will need these models before we can run.
I got it, and I want that.
Yep.
However, I don't want to delay the launch of this. I would
Oh yeah.
much
Nope.
rather have a version that the user has to set, the brain drive owner
Yep.
has to set the models faster than,
Yep.
because to me, this isn't brain drive core. Like, this is not a default plugin.
Yeah.
This is a community plugin that brain drive core team is developing, and it's advanced. It's almost pre-beta at this point.
Yep.
It's not like and I feel like um, the models are going to depend, like what model you want to choose, maybe not for embedding, but
Hmm.
for definitely for chat and
Yep.
everything, is going to depend on the computer you have,
Yep.
you know?
What resources you have available, either through Open Router or however you want
Yeah.
to
And I
tackle
really
that.
don't want this to be like another month of
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Like, whatever we can do
quickly and get this going so that, hey, if I can get it to run on my PC, then we can start growing right there.
Correct. And as you know, and I say like just that YouTube thing, you know
Yep,
what I mean? Just to, that should have been 5 minutes. It took me 2 hours because I'm playing with the fonts and
yeah,
blah blah blah. It's just like even the easiest stuff takes way longer than we think. Like the
yep,
installers, you know what I mean? We've been almost done for 3 weeks.
yep.
You know what I mean? So, and I'm ready. I'm like itching to get this out there now. So I really want this. Unless you feel differently, I really think whatever we can get out as soon as
Yep.
possible.
Oh no, no, I'm not. I'm not
Yeah.
changing any course. That's why it's like the first thing I did. I cleaned up all the installer stuff. I cleaned up all the other stuff. Everything's great right now. We just have to run through the Mac
Right. It's
stuff.
still not done though,
Yeah. Oh
right?
no, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So
No, I
I'm
know.
just,
It's like,
again, it's fine. I'm excited.
yeah,
It's fine. But, to me, RAG is like way more complicated than the changes we're now making to the installer, right? I mean, it's a complicated thing. We both
yeah,
agree on that.
yep.
So, yeah. So anyway, continue.
Okay. However, I want to say it's like I know it sounds like I'll call it a mess because when I was first looking at that, I was like, oh my God, I don't know how far we're off and all like that. I go by the fact that I can see this work in a video. Okay. I can see you put in a question, you have documents in there and you get a response that you'd want to expect to see. So as I said earlier, that's a hidden little gem there. It's working.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of there's some rough edges all around it, and we need to clean it off, fine tune it, make sure it works on Ubuntu, Mac, and Windows.
Yes,
I'm
but if we only can get it working on one,
yep,
I would rather let's release and say this works on
on
Windows,
Windows. Yep,
you know what I mean? Or this works on Mac. Mac to me, I think a lot of like I think with the local AI community, it's like you have the real developers and
yep,
they're on Windows or Ubuntu or Linux or
yep.
whatever. But I think most of the like tech forward people that are like a lot of the local AI community, they're running on Macs.
No disagreement,
Yeah.
especially with the fact that how Mac has handled unified memory and the ability to run larger models than what you could pull off with a NVIDIA answer.
Right.
That makes Mac a lot more appealing towards a large swath of the middle right there. Not that, you have Katie who could be on anything to include a Chromebook.
Yeah.
And then you have the tech people who are sitting most likely, at high end with Ubuntu and NVIDIA cards.
Yeah.
But there's 60% in that middle
Yeah.
that are on a Mac, basically.
Yeah. If you want an inexpensive way to run local AI, like
Yep.
it seems like Mac is like still
Get
the like,
yourself an M3, M4, or if you can afford it, an M5. You go
yeah.
studio, and next thing you know, you're running a 70B model, and then you have the entire NVIDIA crowd going, "Oh, I wish I could do that."
Yeah, and no setup and no
Yep.
cooling and no, fans and cards and, Lego piecing together a PC, right?
Exactly. So that's why this has to work on multiple OSs. But hey, we'll go with whatever way we get it working first. Like I said, it's not part of the core yet. We have a long ways to go, and we will slowly knock down the dominoes of getting this to work and
Yeah.
work the way we envision it. Because wherever we are now, the perfect world is Katie, who just figured out what AIs are yesterday, should be able to put in a link. All of a sudden, it installs RAG for her and she says, "Well, I seen this State of the Union example that everybody else does. I want to try that." She can throw in the document and ask a question, and it gives her a responsible answer back.
I
We,
agree with that. However, at least right now, as people still have to use Olama to download a model in
yep,
BrainDrive, to me, asking them to download one more model and go to the settings page and set it is still Katie okay. It's
yep.
not great, but it's still okay.
Yeah, the only thing is just making sure Katie knows, hey, you do need to take these steps. That's the key thing. It can't be a hunt and check to find the information. It has to be readily available to any novice user.
Correct.
You could run RAG, you just need to go do this. And right there in front of her. So it's not like, okay, I had to read the docs and find this one page in docs, even though you did a great job. We just need to skip that part
Owner's
and
manual, for now. A
Yep,
link, and we're that's actually on our agenda to talk about is linking to some more of this stuff from within Brain Drive.
yep,
But yeah, like a simple step by step. This is how you do it with screenshots. I've already basically got it.
yep.
That's here. So, I think this is, very straightforward
Yep.
to do this. Yeah, granted, to your point, it would be great. Like the best interface means no interface or no man. If a manual is required, it's not great, but like baby steps.
Hey, working with you for a year, I go for great now. I skip that whole middle part. I just go straight off. It's like when I tried to install this and it was waiting for Docker, it reminded me because when we first started, we did an installer for OpenWebUI.
Yeah,
And our first answer was, let's use Docker. And Docker ended up to literally
I
being,
agree with everything. We're a thousand
yep,
percent on the same page with everything you're saying.
y-
The thing I want to make sure, and I think it's important for the
yeah,
call as well, that we're on the same page about though, is having anything to
yep.
launch with in the next week is
Yep.
going to
Oh no,
be
nothing I'm saying is stalling anything.
yeah,
It's
okay.
good. Yeah. Oh no, I'm not going there with this. It is what it
Because
is.
yeah, yeah,
This is going to be that long issues they hit, because you already started doing that at the end of last week of the issues for myself, and Beck handled a few on closing out his side of chat with documents. Is that's just going to grow a little bit, and then we'll figure out exactly what we need to do, where we want to go to moving forward. And hey, if it takes us, hunting down little issues here and there while we go through the release of Brain Drive, and we just
even if
say,
it's to be honest with you, from my perspective, even if it's like you know, we're rebuilding this from the ground up.
yep,
Now, we're taking the learnings that we've
yep,
learned from this plugin and we're going to rebuild it from the ground up. But like here it is, and like here's some
yep,
screenshots. You can play with it. You can at least see sort of like a vision
yep,
here. And also, hey, give us feedback on what you want on this,
yep,
because it sounds like it's gonna either be that or nothing, and I would rather have that
yep,
because it's not part of the core. If it was part
yep,
of the core, if it was gonna be a default plugin, and I think eventually if you're able to get it to do what like you're saying, where it
yep,
doesn't need Docker and it auto installs the models and it's just bam, it's working, then to me, that brings it from a community
yep,
plugin to a default plugin.
yeah,
And it has to be, we want everything that's default to be amazing,
yep,
working flawlessly,
yeah.
polished, basically. But as a community plugin, I
Yeah,
feel less
exactly.
strong about that.
As a community, the community will grow with us on this one, and that's
Yeah,
where it's at right now.
yeah,
It got dumped in my lap last week. I've not really dumped. It placed in my lap. Um,
yeah,
because hey, rag leadership was on my roadmap for a
yeah,
while now, so it wasn't like a no-brainer. But it was like, okay, Beck's wrapping up. Time for me to take a taste of this. Let's
yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
And so it's like I said, there was good. I know it works. It's a matter of figuring out how to make it work, and then I can grow from there. So
Okay, cool.
that's where
So,
that is. Right now, I'm just, hey, the installer, getting that wrapped up, you installing on the Mac, because then once we're there, we go through the dev process to getting on the App Store, and start going forward on that side. The Windows one, we talked about the signature for Windows, so we don't have to have run anyways.
yeah.
And that's where we'll start to pick up, because that's all done now. The background tasks, they just need to be a pull request by me, and that's all been tested all over the weekend, so that's good. But yeah, we're as we wanted to be this beginning of this week. We're here.
Okay, great. So what are you thinking from what you've seen with RAG so far in terms of what are the next steps, I guess?
Okay. Depends. If I get a call with Beck, I can ask my 50 questions. What does it take to get this running, and stuff like that? Because it may work on all three OSs. I could have had something wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm putting that on me because, as with anybody, you're messing with something, especially as sophisticated as RAG is.
Yep.
It's like if you don't know the nuances and stuff like that, then whatever. But when I played with it this weekend and I looked at the code and I like that, I was like, in 2 weeks, I can dump Docker, I can dump all the issues and like that. I can have it auto doing like that. And that was just my time limit in my head of if I just spent 2 weeks. Not that I'm saying because I know our
Two
plan is
weeks would be okay from my perspective, but
we've pushed too
again,
much
like
into
the
releasing.
YouTube thing, it's
We've pushed
like,
too much into
yeah,
releasing this week. I'm not changing course and like that. That's why I did this as a hey, I have a few hours on the weekend while I'm testing this. Let me play with this. Let me see
right.
what's like that. I already did designs because I was there on what it would take to dump Docker and go with jailbreak wrapping the services, which will make them 10 times faster. I that it was the wait 15 minutes for Docker. We ran into the same thing with Open Web UI. So it was like, let's get rid of that. And how to wrap in Mac, how to wrap in Windows, and how to wrap in Ubuntu. The Mac was the one I'd never did it before, so I had to really learn that really quick. And that way, services will just as fast as BrainDrive comes up, the services will come up that fast as well. So it'll be right in time. There won't be a okay, let me start the engine and like in the cold, and maybe it'll and Docker gets going because Docker is Docker.
Okay,
Um,
so it won't be in Docker. It'll just be running locally or what?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
or you could run it wherever you want still, like Docker, where like he has, you could do the
Well, not
processing.
using Docker from my
Yeah,
perspective is would be great.
yeah, exactly. Because like we went through our growing pains of not wanting to use Docker in the first place. So as soon as
Yeah,
I seen what he was doing, I was like, wait, we can do this differently.
right.
And so it's like, and get it running better. Um, and then we can handle the security because there's several different ways to wrap because we're local. We have the advantages of being able to say, hey, here you go. Have a nice day. It's your code, that kind of thing. And so it's really, there's not, he's close. That's why I'm not, this is not a crap on Beck type
So what
thing.
do we need? So this is totally fine. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So there's a bit of a refactoring that you
Yep.
have in your mind, which is we can do this locally and tie it closer to Brain Drive so
Yep.
it's just faster and works like without Docker, basically.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Um,
And it works across all the three
yep. Three
operating
OSs.
systems.
Yep.
Okay. Um, that I imagine is going to be some work, right?
Yeah, that's probably it could go smooth, but the three OSs, it's going to take a week.
Yeah. Okay. And what else?
And then it'll come that'll be that's the conversation with Beck. I got to figure out all the steps that Beck takes to get this running to begin with because I haven't been able to get it to run. Once I know the steps he's go through, I will go through the code where he has it and have it do better error checking so it doesn't explode, but rather it says I don't need this now and move forward and stuff
Okay.
like
And do
that.
you have a list of questions that I can send to him ahead of time?
Not yet.
So,
I only have the one because I haven't been able to get through all the issues because once it hits one, it blows up and it just stops working. I
okay.
like
So would
that.
it
So
be beneficial to have a call with him like tomorrow
tomorrow,
or
tomorrow would work. Tomorrow will be perfect. That
okay,
way we can he can go through what he does either on video. I can go
eight
through what I
o'clock?
8 o'clock works.
Okay. That's what he has open on his
Yep.
calendar. So let me just do that. Hope I'm not sharing my screen right now. Okay,
Mm-mm.
nope.
You're good.
And you saw the docs, like he put together a bunch of docs and
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and I was trying to look for videos that showed he going through the exact install procedure, but it was like just couldn't find anything that went through everything of going, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this.
Okay, great. So
However,
that's
I didn't
done.
see your owner's manual on the on RAG or chat with documents, and I wonder if that has some of the answers that I was looking for. But
Okay.
we'll do
Well,
both. You'll throw me a link to the owner's manual, and we'll meet tomorrow for any questions that I have for him,
cool.
and we'll get it all up and running.
Great. I'll share this with you now. Cool.
There we go.
All
Yeah, because
right.
I do wonder with back there are chat with documents if the problem is my system is not set up like his and stuff like that because I work on a cloud environment, so because I'm always testing for that, and he's probably always working like you, local host. And
Yeah.
so those kind of things, and that opens up some nuances and stuff like that. So that's why it's like, yeah, I'm not putting anything. It could be my problem, my ignorance.
Okay.
But
We'll figure it out.
yep, exactly.
All right, so that's rag. So you've got that's basically your week, right?
Yeah, well, and the installers and getting us released is my priority for this week. And then if I'm just waiting like you to install, or you give me feedback, or once we send off to the Apple devs people, and we're waiting on them, it'll be rag.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean we have basically I think till the end of the month for the contest that we want to
Yep.
submit to. And like to me, getting having something we can show with chat with documents for that. And we can
Exactly.
just put in there like this is very experimental
Yep.
right now, but we want to just give you a sense of where we're going.
To the contest, if we could have rag working, super. If not, and based on how I see the releases being so far, I still think that we are so far ahead of other people because it doesn't go into like a bunch of details and like that. Really, it's just wow. And to me, I think we already answered the wow because we are offering something not so much of, hey, I used a model that's been out for 3 months differently than the next guy. What we did is said, hey, we have an entire unique approach to your AI. And that
Yes,
is we're the only, and to me, it's like if I have to sum up what BrainDrive is, imagine you have OpenAI custom GPTs and the power to be local with them. Because that's when you develop a plugin, you are developing a custom GPT with more power than they have because you can make the interface anything you want, as I proved with the craft game and chat with documents. And in the chat experience, we have three different spectrums. Navaneeth doing Y-Finder. It's like there's the limit is what you want to place,
I
not
agree. Yes. And I think we could have submitted to the contest. I think we had something for people to be excited about like 4 months ago.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but what we've been working towards over the last, and the reason why we didn't go then is we're close, and we felt like we were close, and I think we were right, and we are close, even closer, very
Yeah.
close to having something now that's like not only am I excited about the vision here, but I can start using this like right now.
Yep.
Okay. And originally we were thinking, okay, developers, right?
Yep.
Then we were like, we're not sure on the development side quite yet, but we're really close to having something on the owner side. And that's the first phase anyway. Like you got
Yep.
to own it. And to me, own, forgetting about build for a
Yep.
second,
Yep.
own without chat with documents is like, this is cool, but it's not like chat with documents is like, that's what everybody
Yep.
wants,
Nope.
right?
No,
Is
there's no disagreement.
give it to me with my data,
Yep.
right? And so I think if we go now, we can,
Yep.
no problem. People will be excited about it. We'll get good feedback, etc. But there, it'll be one of those things that's more like, I tried it, it's exciting, I love
Yep.
it. Here's some feedback, and then I won't use it again until I
I
have
see
chat
chat
with
with
documents.
documents.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
No disagreement at all. None.
Okay. Now there is the other side though, which is if I'm a developer, which a lot of these people in the local AI
Yeah.
communities are going to be developers, it's a little bit the opposite, right?
Yeah.
If we come out with the main thing is like own and chat with documents and everything, they're going to be like a little bit like, unless the chat with documents is really like cooking, which
Yeah.
is going to take a minute, I think we both agree.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, without the build part, they're going to be like, hey, this is really exciting. Let me know when building is ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I love the build. I want to customize my own system. That's why I'm here. But the chatting is like, I'll just do that with Open Web UI or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
why the contest is a little different though, to me. Okay, because
no, no, the contest. I think we can win the contest like 4 months ago. Okay. Like I think we can. I would have been confident 4 months ago to go into the because the contest is just they're not even saying you have to have anything. Like it's
Yeah.
okay to have an idea and a work in progress, and we've got a lot more than that, right? So winning the contest is to me it'll be great and like
Yep.
the prizes and blah blah blah. But like what it really is like a free promotion
Yeah,
opportunity.
exactly.
That's
That's
why
what
we're
I'm
doing
like.
it, right? Okay. But again, there's going to be two types of people in there. There's going to be the developers
Yep.
and there's going to be the AI local AI enthusiasts, right? And if we go without chat with documents functioning,
Yep.
the AI enthusiasts are going to be less excited.
Yep.
If we go without building, the builders are going to be less excited,
Yep.
right? So in my mind, that means in terms of just the promotion stuff, I think
Yep.
we can win the contest today. But in terms of just the promotion, in terms of getting sticky use, sticky
Yes. Yep.
owners,
Yep.
people that are going to not only see it, like it, be excited about it, I think we have that now, but they're going to actually start using it as their AI system
Yep.
and doing things with it. We need to have ideally both eventually, obviously,
Yep.
but either chat with documents or we need to have build dialed in.
No disagreement because that
Okay,
gets us off their interested list to their using list.
right. Okay, now, um, uh, if you look at chat with documents,
Hmm.
I feel like in the time that we decided to shift, like let's really focus on the own part
Yep.
here. We've also realized that the developer build part is way closer than maybe we were thinking in terms of being ready for prime time.
Yeah, because and I don't want to say our defense, but we have shifted a few times because it's like we were like, first of all, Katie, and then we were like, let's build Aaron and like that, and then we were like, wow, that's going to take a little more work than we think that we're going to need. Let's go back to Katie, and it's like, during this entire process, we have been slowly incremented on both.
Yeah,
It's like because we're closer to Katie than we've ever been, and we're closer to Aaron than we've ever been.
yeah.
It's like in some cases, like Aaron. Heck, you can, we'll find out from Navneet. He's going to be our truth test right there. How close can somebody build what they've envisioned?
Okay. So I think this week you work on RAG because we
Yep,
need to make that transition regardless of
yep,
what we decide. And then by the end of this week, we make a call. Are we really going for build? You know what I mean? Or are
yep,
we really going for own first, right? Or maybe we could do both,
both.
which would be ideal.
Yep,
Um, and I think hopefully Navaneeth will have time to go through everything this week as well. And then because I think build is the main message for the contest anyway, even if we're like it's not quite ready yet,
yep,
like that's the contest is like it's not about that. And we have something that people will be excited about, and we should use this as an opportunity to do that
yep,
promotion. Um, but obviously, if we do have something that we're like, okay, we really want people to start building on this is the
yep,
main thing, then the messaging can either be, you know, we have a foundation that we want you to try out that eventually you'll build on.
yep,
Like, let us know what you think of the foundation. And you can also try and build some stuff, but
yep,
like, we're really here for like the foundation feedback and to dial in this foundation.
yep,
Or it's like, we have this foundation, there's some things missing, etc., but like it's ready to build on and improve.
yep.
But that's
Eh,
kind of two separate.
Okay. The only way we're going to know is like when I did the craft plugin.
Yeah.
Is by doing because
Yes.
you just set out this is my vision. I don't want to cut any corners. I want to succeed. Navneet, that he is going to be that sniff test right there. How
Right.
far can Navneet get on your vision? Because your vision is on Y-Finder, you have the code sitting there of how you did it on Vercel. So he has all the prompt work. All he has to do is execute at the end of the day. And can it? I think it can, because based on all our conversations and what I've seen, it doesn't do anything that makes me go, "Oh my God, that's not going to work." And what it's going to do is just sing, in my opinion. Like I said, there's nothing that. And once that happens, that's it. As you've seen, that's your vision. It's working exactly as you wanted it to, and he was able to build it as a developer.
Right.
That's where I think we're at. And so I don't see any shortcomings at all on that one. And
So
it's only
you
going to
think
get
we could go,
stronger.
you think we can go out with a build message?
That's the wow factor for me. Like and when
It's
I look at
definitely the wow factor for the develop. I mean,
yeah,
there's no question that the developers, it's the wow factor.
and Navigate, like I said, Navigate, I'm putting not all my eggs in one basket, but he's been close enough to say, okay, I've learned how this system works. I've talked
I
with
don't
these
actually
people,
know,
how much he
you
knows.
know, yeah, I don't know how good much of a develop. I know
Yeah.
he's an AI researcher. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Is what he does. What his coding skills are, I'm not sure. That's not why we brought him on
Yep.
really, originally, but we're gonna find out.
He
And
can
they're
use
definitely
AI
better
though.
than mine. He's
Yep.
built some things.
Yeah, but he built with AI, or he knows understand AI. So
Yeah.
with that, that can actually smooth the edges on a lot of roughness, as you've learned yourself.
Yeah,
It's like
right.
as long as you know the language to talk, the
Yeah.
AI will take care of the rest. And especially in this case of how this is, because I use it all the time. It's like you just know how to tell it what to do, and it will take care of it. And it's like if you can do that one, you're good. And he has me to talk to. So hey, how
Yeah,
far can off?
right. Exactly. All right, so I think we'll call it there for the
Yep.
live stream. That's right on an hour. As we talked about at the beginning of the call, we do these calls every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We'd love it if you join us live, and we also post the recordings over on the community forums at community.braindrive.ai so you can participate there as well. I hope everybody has a good week, and we'll see you next week.